Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love, to Astro Fenixx, flying into the moment yet again and radiating love as always. Y'all like the shirt? I felt like it was pretty applicable for Aquarius season. And we now have the moon in Libra from January 25th through the 27th of 2019. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. And adaptability. I had to actually ponder on this one for a moment because I was trying to figure out what this moon in Libra transit was going to be about. We just got through with the moon in Virgo transit where you probably were agonizing over the perfection of how things should look, how things should be. And you could have stressed yourself out. But look at this. Now we have all this energy in air. We have the sun in Aquarius. It doesn't like to be in Aquarius, mind you. It would much rather be in its opposite home sign of Leo. But we do have the sun in Aquarius. We do have Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication, now in Aquarius. Finally, in an air sign. It's been agonizing for Mercury. And now we do have the moon here as well, training all of this air energy. And even though the sun does not like to be in Aquarius, Mercury is catching up, and Mercury and the sun are best friends. They're best pals, right? Because, you know, obviously Mercury is the closest to the sun. It revolves around the sun once every 88 days. And now that they're in Aquarius, which even though it's fixed air, this is going to bring about this revolution to our mind and to this intellectualism. And really, Mercury, like I said, it's gone through hell. It went through Scorpio, where it had to come through all of that dark, deep energy, and it went through the Venus shadow zone. Then it went to Sagittarius, where it doesn't like to be, and much rather be in Gemini. And then it in Sagittarius, so it took a while for Mercury to come out of there, even though it, made the conjunction to Jupiter. It's like trying to expand our mind, but then it's like really uncomfortable. It's kind of like, I'm almost seeing it as like a bad trip. It's like, it's a trip that did not, and when I'm thinking trip, I'm thinking like psychedelics. It's like a bad trip that, even though it's great and expanded your mind and your awareness, it wasn't necessarily the most fun. Then what happened? Mercury came into Capricorn. Yeah. Where Saturn is. Where Pluto is. Where the South Node is. So Mercury finally being in an air sign, and which relatively has like no karma now attached to it because the nodes aren't there. Mercury is finally feeling good. Like, you can finally think new thoughts, new, fresh, innovative thoughts. And when Mercury and the sun conjunct, this is going to bring about this quantum realization of how we really can adapt. And I think that's what this moon in Libra is going to be speaking of, because even though the moon is going to be squaring the Capricorn energy, we have to, and it's going to be squaring the Capricorn energy, it's going to be squaring, the North Node in Cancer, and it's going to be opposing all this energy in Aries. We have Mars at home in Aries. We have Uranus in Aries. But the good thing about this, like I said, is that even though, especially with the oppositions to the Aries energy, with the moon making trines over to this Aquarius energy, by the time that the moon opposes Uranus, we're actually going to learn how to adapt to our surroundings and adapt to our situation. I'm thinking of the frog, because the frog is actually a totem animal of Libra. And the frog does speak to adapting to one's surroundings. And how the frog actually is this very unique creature, how it can exist between the water and the land. And I think what happens is that a lot of times we look at our situation and we believe that it's set in stone. We believe that things are the way that they are, and that there's no type of changeability, no type of adaptability to our situation. We can agonize over the way that it looks and how we perceive it because we want it to be a certain way. And then we try and really force and really just try to push and prod what we think should look like. Instead of meeting the universe halfway and trusting in the divine timing of things. That's what this moon squaring Saturn is. It's going to be like, the moon in Libra is looking for peace and harmony and balance, integration. I really like to think integration because it's about integrating the aspects of our light side and our dark side, not shunning the dark side or anything, or shunning the light side, because some people do that. But it's about integrating these two aspects because we are both. And then taking like the heightened form of those aspects and really coming into those. This moon in Libra, as it makes these squares to Saturn, and as it makes this square to Pluto and the South Node, we really are going to be kind of sorting out who and what's coming on us to the journey. Because you got to remember, it's also going to be sextiling the Jupiter energy, Jupiter and Venus. So there is this element of this grand adventure that we can go on. But what are the situations? Who are the people that are going to come with us on the journey, right? And we could have had things, like I said, set in stone about how the way it's supposed to look. But now with this trining energy over to Aquarius, we can begin to think differently about a situation. We can begin to think differently and act differently so we can law of attraction to our life. The situation and circumstances that really resonate with our spirit, that really resonate with our higher self. So this is going to be a moon of adaptability, where we don't really fret over the way that things look, but we can actually begin to, this is cardinal air, we can begin to actually direct our thoughts and even our actions, because actions also speak. We can begin to direct these thoughts and these actions in the direction that we see fit for ourselves. And like I said, this is still about trusting the divine timing of things. So don't fret if things don't look exactly the way that you want. Just keep taking the necessary actions and move forward in that beat. We have the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is just that. You got to think, the Two of Pentacles, it's like when you found a project, you found something that you really want to do, and it makes you, this is the Two of Pentacles is, in many ways, it's like, say you open up your own business or something like that, doing your passion. It's either the first transaction that you make and it makes you feel good, or maybe you haven't had a transaction yet. Maybe someone hasn't bought a service from you yet. But are you going to allow that future transaction that hasn't materialized yet? Are you going to allow the anxiety and the angst and the worry of, will it ever happen? Will you allow that to stop you, to halt you from continuing to juggle these things, from continuing to put one step in front of the other? I like to think of the Two of Pentacles as putting one step in front of the other. Whereas the Ace of Pentacles is like a new opportunity. And then the Two of Pentacles is actually beginning that journey. One step in front of the other, one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. And you will make it to your destination. I think we also have to realize that once we make it to our destination, even though we may chill for a bit, there's always another journey. That's what the sextiling energy to Jupiter and Venus and Sagittarius is going to be speaking of. So yes, a grand journey is definitely opening up. And yes, we are kind of sorting out, who's vibing with us and who's not, what situations are vibing with us and what's not. This is also, I want to say this too, if you're not in a situation that you want to be in right now, do not allow that situation to make you trigger happy. And I don't even like the word triggered because I feel like it's becoming a trigger in and of itself. But I think especially those who are into the law of attraction, those who are into self-help, self-improvement, astrology, whatever like that, there's this weird energy where they really, if they're not there, it's like something's like wrong. And it's like not trusting this divine timing. That's why I said that the moon in Virgo was trust. And I'm saying this is adapt, because when we trust in the divine timing of things, and then we begin to adapt to our situations so we can actually move through it more fluidly and come into the place that we are, then we'll kind of look back on those former situations and those former people that we may have been associated with, and we'll actually see the good in them. So don't allow yourself to get super triggered by your situation if it's not exactly the way that you want it to be. Put on some armor, but don't allow, but even don't. I will almost hesitate to say put on armor, because sometimes if you put on too much armor, then you can't move. You're like stiff. You know what I mean? Like you can barely move. I'm seeing, like, those funny commercials where like the mom puts like on like all the bubble wrap on their kid when they're about to go ride their bike for the first time. It's like sometimes people want to do that going to a situation, so they feel like, oh, I can't possibly get triggered, but that actually makes you even more stiff and less fluid. You can calmly walk into a room where you don't necessarily feel like you belong, and you can thrive and adapt in that room. You actually can do that. You actually have the ability to do that. I know there's a lot of energy right now. I know there's a lot of sensitivities right now. I know there's a lot of higher energy. We have a lot of Sag energy. We have a lot of Cap energy. We have a lot of Aquarius energy. A lot of Pisces energy. Adaptability is definitely going to be the name of the game for this moon in Libra. So I hope that helped you all in any way. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, we can look to see how these planets, these celestial bodies are affecting you and how they've affected you your whole life. If you would like to take advantage of that, please follow the link in the description below too, astrofenixx.com. What's up, Matador? Thank you so much for joining. You've been one of my followers for such a long time. Peace and puff, absolutely. Definitely would like to meet up with you in the physical someday. But in any event, thank you so much for joining me, my beautiful brothers and sisters. And always remember to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile.